Hello and welcome to another episode of 10-Sided Dice on WTEN Plus. I'm Jackson Tollerton. I'm one of our digital producers here, and I'll be being the Dungeon Master for this episode of Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition play. I am joined today for another continuation of our series by the man, the myth, the legend, Len Tollerton, my dad. What's going on?
Hey, how are you?
Welcome back. We were in the middle of an adventure with Pop here. Our friend Chibi Chung, the human warrior, has been working alongside Bertrand, a ranger from the town of Glen Hollow, the Baron of which has sought help with a nasty owl bear, this big beast that has been an issue for the trade roads in and out of the town. He's looking for somebody to take care of this thing so the roads can be safe once again. After meeting up with Bertrand the Ranger, he kind of told you that he suspects that something might be wrong with the owl bear, it might be sick. It doesn't seem like a usual behavior for a beast like it to stray so far from its den and to go to the roads. You two, after chit-chatting a little bit, getting to know each other, Bertrand made you use your show off your bow skills to him before he would take you on the road. You absolutely sniped an apple outside of his shack, and when he was satisfied, and you guys hit the road. You headed out for about a 90-minute walk toward where the den was suspected to be from Bertrand. As you guys got there and noticed this big beast lurking in front of this small cave in a glade, you asked a very valid question to him, which was, have you brought anybody else out here before to check on this? Has anybody come back or anything? And he says that this is really like the first big go at taking care of this thing. You and Bertrand together, as he turned and ushered you to follow him closer toward the mouth of the cave where the owl bear is lurking. So, you guys get, I'm going to say now, within 60 feet of the owl bear, kind of get 20, 25-ish feet closer after some creeping through the bushes. Again, you said you're wearing studded leather armor?
Yes.
Right, okay. So Bertrand's kind of wearing a similar getup. You have your bow out. As you kind of have a better look now, and Bertrand's helping you, why don't you go ahead and roll me, this is going to be a perception check with advantage, because Bertrand's helping. So this will be rolling it twice and taking the best of the two.
Okay, I'm just going to roll 2 dice.
Sure.
19.
19, nice.
Plus whatever.
So now that you're closer to the owl bear, you gotta get a good look at this thing and realize that first of all, you kind of look past the beast that is kind of wading in and out in front of this cave mouth. As it kind of gets away in its rotation from the cave, you look in and you can see that there is like a straw and hay and like leaf created it looks like the size of like a human, like king-sized bed, but it's made of like straw and hay and debris. And you make out what looks like a large nest. And you can see 2, foot tall, big, pearly white eggs that are sitting in the nest. And realize quickly that this is a mama owl bear protecting her eggs. Now, with your 19 perception check as well, you start keeping your eye on the owl bear alongside Bertrand, and you find that it looked like at first like it was doing like a figure 8 kind of like perimeter around the outside of the cave. Which seemed odd, though, because as you guys got there, you seemed alone in the glade of the owlbear. It was like looking for something. When you take some time to study it a little closer, you see that it's not following a figure-8 pattern at all, and is actually, it almost looks like it's drunk. It's like stumbling and kind of like going in like random directions, and is like blinking a lot, and you can hear like this chirp, like croak from this big beast that kind of like reverberates through the small glade here. And with a 19, with help from Bertrand, last thing you notice is at one point it kind of like it gets up on like its hind legs and like stretches before coming back down. When it's up on its hind legs, it's probably like 10 feet in the air. And you the two of you kind of are looking at this thing, but while Bertrand's kind of like taking in like the, just the wonder of this big magical creature, you spot underneath this thing's like, and its like underbelly is, you see lodged what looks like a broken arrow shaft.
Oh.
And with a 19, you can see that there's like this like almost like thick like gooping purple substance coming off around where the arrow wound is.
Possibly poison, or just infection from the wound itself.
Something like that. You note that, and Bertrand looks at you and says, "What do you see? What do you think?"
Well, what I think is that if we go close to it, it's going to probably attack because it's scared, it's hurt, and doesn't understand that we may be trying to help it out. I don't know how we're going to be able to change its mind, to be able to do that without possibly knocking it out. And based on the fact that in that cave are 2 of its eggs, it's not likely to leave the area, to be chased away, to be coaxed away, somehow. So I am unsure at this point what to do without getting it to just go into full attack mode.
He looks at you and he says, well, it might be a bit brazen, but maybe if we could help it, like you said, I would certainly prefer to not go to battle with such a beast, but...
Well, no, but my question here is, if the beast is injured like that and has 2 eggs in the nest, why does it keep coming to attack citizens? Why is it harassing? Are the citizens coming out, or are there hunters or bandits coming out trying to attack it, and it's gotten upset and trying to defend itself? Or I don't understand why it's on the attack mode all the time.
Maybe it's something to do with its wound. Maybe there's some substance that is affecting its mind.
I never thought of that. I'm not well versed enough in injuries, other than it doesn't look good.
Mm. He looks and he sees, you both kind of see the owlbear kind of like looking like groggy and kind of hazy, and you see it doesn't seem to notice you guys yet, and it starts to like head toward like the front face of the cave, probably like, I'm going to say the cave where the nest and the eggs are, I'm going to say is like 20 feet back from where this thing rests in like the front mouth of the cave. And you see it kind of like go to, it kind of like falls on like its like butt and then like rolls onto its side. You're not sure if this thing has kind of collapsed from its injuries or if it's just tired from going on a long night of rampaging. But it seems to finally come to a rest. Bertrand looks right at you, and he has this just awful grin to him and smiles and says, "Well, that looks like an opportunity has just opened itself up." He says, "What do you say we get a closer look?"
That sounds fine. I'm going to take my bow and my quiver and set them on the ground because if it sees that, it might think that it's about to be shot again.
Nice.
I will keep my other weapons with me. Actually, I'll just keep the one weapon. I'll keep the mace with me and put the other weapons down here in the bush, the bushes, and hopefully with our hands out, it might trust us.
All right, I like it. You kind of set your most of your weapons down. You said your mace with you.
Yes.
And Bertrand also switches to like a knife, sets the arrow down, kind of like follows your lead. You guys get to a point where you're about, I'm going to say 20 feet from the owl bear, still in the bushes. You set your gear down about 20 feet away, and you guys both start to approach the prone bear, and that's where we will we'll take a break and we'll come right back. Welcome back. We are keeping it rolling here on 10-sided dice. See what I did there? That was for Con. So as you two start to make your way closer to this bear, I'd like you both to roll me a stealth check.
All right.
Very important one here.
All right. My dexterity is 16, so I get a +3 on my stealth check.
Very nice.
I rolled a big 3, so it's a total of 6. I'm clod hopping right out of the bushes and trying to get right over to that owl bear.
And you said a 6 total?
Yes.
Let me roll for Bertrand here.
Owl bear, I'm coming to help you.
You do in fact you start to make your way forward with Bertrand. Bertrand is like doing well to kind of like creep step up to this thing. You're kind of within like 5 feet of him, and I think most importantly, whether or not he's encountered one or 3 or whatever, he's keeping his Chibi Chung's keeping his eyes on the owl bear, and does not see like a gnarled root into the ground, hits it with his foot. You're able to like catch yourself from like full, face planting, but you trip and like you just stumble forward into Bertrand and the two of you kind of look at each other, and let's see, I'm going to do a roll for the owl bear to see if it is disturbed by your approach.
All right.
You see the owl bear kind of like turn over on its side facing you guys, but you can see that it's like still like mid-sleep. It turns and adjusts, kind of like goes back to sleep. I'm going to say you guys are about like 10 feet away now from the owl bear. You both kind of like, as it turns, but it kind of like stays asleep. And I think Bertrand kind of goes like to you and goes, you start to, I'm going to say you guys get within like 5 feet of the owl bear without any other issue. You can see this thing now. You're closer. I want you with Bertrand standing right there to help. I want you to go ahead and roll me. It's going to be a medicine check.
+2 on the wisdom. And that's 16 + 2 is 18.
Nice, yeah. You've been around a little bit. You've seen some adventuring time. You look and this wound now. This thing is like pretty facing you. Has this like arrow in its belly. It seems like it was a full arrow that the thing had tried to get out by like breaking it, and you can see that it's kind of like broken at the shaft, and right around like where the arrowhead entered, you see that there's like this almost like fizzing, bubbly, like purple substance that you recognize has to be some kind of poison. You've never heard of like a mind-altering poison for something like this, but it's not unheard of that such a poison, if not a high enough dose to kill the thing, would start to affect its rationale a bit, and its schedule and whatnot. So you note that. You see that it has... you can see where like you or Bertrand would be able to pull what's left of the arrow out, but it still has this like poison that's in it that you would not know right off, rip a way to cure.
Pulling the arrow out is going to cause the owlbear a great amount of pain and will obviously wake the owlbear up. I was wondering if there was a way to cleanse, like take water from my canteen and maybe being somewhat experienced, I would have some kind of first aid kit with me, first aid items, maybe some kind of like a salve, like to a healing thing with some aloe in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the water in the canteen and try to clean the wound out, clean some of that poison out first before we really start pulling that arrow.
I like it. You go in, grab your medieval first aid kit, like you said, just a couple of things you've picked up along the way, a little bit of balm, some gauze, some bandages, some stuff like that, and it also comes with like a little vial of water.
Fighter and EMT.
He does it all, that Bertrand, and brews his own beer. So you get this little pack out, and Bertrand looks at you and he says, "You gonna try to clean the wound?"
That's what I'm gonna try to do. So I don't know. Be ready to run.
He as you say that, you two both start to hear footsteps approaching on the other side of the glade, kind of around the corner from where the cave front is. So I'm gonna say 20 feet away from you guys and 20 feet away from where you are with the owlbear. You see a peculiar sight. You see what looks like this stout, kind of balding dwarf. Big bushy black beard, has a brown leather duster on, and is carrying a big heavy crossbow. He's got his hair kind of tied back in a knot, and at his side he has a big gray timber wolf that's following at his heel, and he doesn't seem to notice you guys, but you see from afar, 15, 20 feet out, he and the wolf are starting to head toward the cave. What do you two do? What do you and Bertrand do?
I'm not sure about Bertrand, but seeing as that this is possibly the individual that shot the owlbear with a poison arrow or bolt from his crossbow, I'm going to just tell Bertrand I'm going to grab my bow. And I run kind of jog back the 10, 20 feet wherever we buried it under the bush, and grab my quiver and my bow and just have them in hand ready to use if necessary.
Sure, yeah. Go ahead, and I need one more stealth check as you go to head back toward the bow.
That's a natural 19 plus 3.
Big one, yeah, nice. You quickly see what's coming. You kind of dart back stealthily toward where the bushes were. You grab your bow. Do you grab Bertrand's bow for him?
If I see it, I will.
Yeah, it's pretty close to yours. You grab both of you guys' bows and quivers, and with your high stealth check, you make it back to him, no problem. You see it. So you guys are like 20 feet out from the cave, like right in front of it with the owl bear, and now you notice that the dwarf and this wolf that he's with are kind of like reaching the cave mouth when they have like turned now and they saw the owl bear as they approached, but they didn't see you guys kind of like crouched behind the owl bear. And the dwarf kind of like looks at you and goes like wide-eyed, and you see him look back and forth between you and the eggs. And we'll pick up after one last break. And we're back on 10-sided dice. We're on our adventure, Trouble in the Dark Forest. So a lot going on here outside this owl bear cave. Chibi Chung and Bertrand are working on trying to help cure and heal this injured owl bear so it can stop erratically attacking people on the road. And as you guys are preparing to do that, you found this like dwarf hunter looking fellow approaching with like a timber wolf companion. You and this dwarf hunter kind of like make eye contact, and he darts back and forth between you guys and the eggs. And when he sees you, what would you like to do? What would Chibi Chung want to do? I'll put it to you.
So
first.
I can tell that he's got an interest in the eggs. I'll say, "Ho, Goodman Dwarf! Please don't be looking at those eggs. That's that owlbear's eggs and offspring, and there's no reason for you to be stealing those. What can we do? What can we do?"
He looks at you and he kind of like goes to like a whisper, and he says, "Quiet, you fool! Do you not want to wake the beast? Look, I tried to put this thing down a little while back, and my poison's doing its work. You just gotta, get out of here, let it die, and we'll be out of your hair. I've come for those eggs. I've worked for those eggs."
Well, first of all, the poison that you have put into that owlbear has caused it to mentally go astray and attack the citizens of Glen Hollow. And the Baron can't have that. And we're acting on the Baron's behalf. He did want this taken out, but he did not know what the situation was. What good are those eggs to you?
He looks at you like you've got like 9 heads. He goes, "Are you out of your mind? Hundreds, maybe even thousands of gold for each egg, and there's 2 of them."
Sold to whom?
"Whatever poacher wants to get their hands on it. I'm just the hunter. Look, I'll tell you what. There's 2 eggs. Why don't you guys take one, and I'll take one?" And Bertrand kind of like looks back at you with like a big like scowling face. "I don't think so, my friend."
Well, I have to go along with my friend. I thought about it for a moment. We each get an egg, and it would allow us to continue to heal this owlbear. But if I was the parent of offspring, I wouldn't want any of my offspring taken. So we're going to stand here and defend this owlbear's eggs and ask you to leave. I know it's not going to be the amount of money but I will offer to give you 100 gold to walk away.
He looks at you and he
I say that because I know that the Baron will gladly back that up.
Yeah. You put that out and you see him kind of like, put his hand through his beard and think about the offer, and he says, or I can shoot you both dead with my crossbow and make hundreds of gold by taking these 2 eggs.
At this point, I'm
Ready to go.
pulling an arrow out of my quiver and let's go.
You reach for an arrow, you start to knock it. Bertrand grabs his bow and starts to do the same thing. You see the dwarf hunter kind of like start to cock his crossbow back and get ready, and you start to the next thing that happens is you hear like a low kind of growl from the timber wolf that's by its side. You guys get ready for our initiative to start our battle. You all kind of pause for a moment as you hear a low and you all start to see the owlbear stir awake amongst the havoc here as the battle begins. Between your two members of your party and the newcomers and the owlbear. That is we're going to leave off for our second episode here. We're going to leave off another cliffhanger. We'll jump back next time with our friend Chibi Chung as he goes to protect this owl bear and the eggs in its den, and hopefully cure it of its the poisoned wound from this poacher, and help restore peace and safety to the trade roads to Glen Hollow. So we will tune back into our next episode and see how the battle goes. Pop, thank you so much for joining us on the
Thanks for having
journey.
me. I really enjoyed it.
It means a lot. We appreciate you, and thank you all for tuning in. 10-sided dice. We'll keep the adventure going next time. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Bye.